You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we do have some breaking news and some big news. We have Josh Brolin stating that we could see Thanos return in the MCU very soon. So Josh Brolin has been going through a multiple set of interviews, mainly because he is promoting Dune Part 2. Josh Brolin has been one of the fan favorites in those projects, playing Gurney Halleck. But of course, many people do know Josh Brolin for playing the big bad Thanos in the MCU. So a journalist from Comic Book wanted to ask Josh Brolin about a potential appearance or comeback of Thanos within the MCU, and this is what Josh Brolin had to say. You know, I hear kind of like throughout the grapevine that they're going to bring him back, and this is not the first time Josh Brolin has tried and gained momentum on his return. It was said by him back on October 2023, and I quote, "It's not that I don't have an interest. They do have their own trajectory that they're worrying about, and if they want me to do it, I would do it, I'm sure." And that is him stating that he would be willing to return as Thanos. So there's a great feeling that within these next few years, us seeing Thanos on the big screen again is very much possible. But the question is, when could we see him return and in what way? Now, we have already seen Thanos return in What If Season 1 and Season 2. He made multiple appearances and he died in all of those episodes, which is very funny. And then we saw him also appear in Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, but he was dead. And we saw him for like about 2 or 3 seconds. So when could we see Thanos alive and also, of course, in live action, in his full glory? So we are going to be explaining the 3 ways that we could get introduced to Thanos again in the Multiverse Saga. Now, to get one thing very clear, Marvel and Kevin Feige are definitely not going to be using the Thanos version that we have seen in Endgame. They don't want to touch that. They don't want to interfere with however Thanos died by the end of that film, which is him dying through the snap. It's very similar to how Marvel approached Tony Stark's death. They don't want to touch it. Yes, we are going to be seeing Tony Stark and Iron Man return eventually in the Multiverse Saga. It's just that we're not going to be getting that version of Tony Stark. The same thing can also be said with Logan and how Logan died. Deadpool 3 will not be touching how Logan ended. They're not going to be grabbing that version of Wolverine and taking him out in order for them to continue a different story. There is no way they're going to be touching anybody's deaths. What's most likely going to happen is we're either going to see Thanos get told his backstory or we get Thanos from a different universe. And so let's talk about that. So the first way that we could see Thanos would be for him to actually fight against Cable in Deadpool 3. You'd be surprised on the amount of people that have been speculating on this idea for it to happen. Because look, Thanos and Cable are both played by the same actor, which is Josh Brolin. So it would be extremely funny to see those 2 characters go at it in the events of Deadpool 3. Now, we did not see Thanos in the Deadpool 2 film, even though Deadpool 2 was released a month after Avengers Infinity War. We did not see that because at that time, it was only appropriate to use Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. Because the whole focus at that time was to close out the Infinity Saga, and it would make no sense to get the biggest bad of that Infinity Saga and put that character into a different film. Also keep in mind that at that time, the Fox movies could not go with the Marvel movies because Marvel did not have the Fox rights at that time. So that is why at that time, those were 2 different things. But now seeing that Marvel do have the rights of Fox and seeing how time has passed since the events of Infinity War and Endgame, a lot of us have already settled with Thanos, and we can all safely say that Thanos has been a very popular character, a character that we do want to see again. And we do eventually want to see Thanos come back in the MCU. And many people have again been speculating maybe we could see Cable go up against Thanos during a quick cameo and having Thanos get killed. Let's remember, Marvel wanted to bait the fans, thinking that Thanos was going to show up in the Marvels by using Thanos in the Marvels trailers. And in my honest opinion, as good and as funny as it sounds, I don't think that this would happen. It makes sense now because of all the rights that we have acquired and because how funny it could be, but there's like a 2 or 3% chance that this could happen. To be very honest with you, I truly believe that if Marvel do intend to return the character in its full glory, using the best CGI possible, having Josh Brolin act in the best way possible, you play that character to come in and have him play a big role, a massive and a very important role. Now, like I've said, we could see him in Deadpool 3. We might see him as a cartoon character and you see Wolverine and Deadpool go to a different universe where everybody's all cartoony and Thanos is there. Or you can see Deadpool meet up with baby Thanos and he ends up killing baby Thanos in a different universe. We could see stuff like that, but in terms of like seeing him in his full glory, like the exact type of Thanos that we have seen in Endgame, I don't think they're gonna do that. There's a time and place for that. And I think that the best way they can introduce the big bad again would be Secret Wars. And that's what's going to lead us towards possibility number 2, which is we could see Thanos return by the end of the Multiverse Saga. Because let's get one thing very clear. Kang the Conqueror is going to be the big bad of this saga. He is immovable. They're just gonna be finding a different actor. And the multiverse is going to be at stake because of Kang. And because of that, everybody is in trouble. Everybody is in danger. Billions and trillions and multi-trillions of people will die due to Kang trying to conquer the multiverse. It would not only be the end of planets, it would not only be the end of universes, but the end of basically everything that has ever existed. And to Thanos, he might potentially find this a problem. Like, what universe can Thanos conquer if there is no universe in the first place? And that is why there is a great possibility he might make an appearance in Secret Wars. Keep in mind that Thanos also played a huge part in the Secret Wars storyline in the comics. Now here's what gets very interesting. Thanos could return and actually ally with the Avengers because of just how much is at stake or will be at stake by the time the movie releases. Thanos is going to be interested in saving his own universe, because what other choice is he going to have? Is he just going to sit back and just let everybody die, and including himself? So it's likely that we could see the Avengers find a variant of Thanos to help them. So he's either going to be like a bad villain that is willing to ally with the Avengers, or the Avengers do find an actual good Thanos with good morals. Kevin Feige can take this in multiple directions. It would be very interesting to see a bad Thanos being forced to ally with the Avengers because there's simply no other choice. There is a bigger bad and bigger threat out there that is willing to erase everything. And you better bet that will get so many butts on the seat to see Thanos right next to the Avengers and saying, we have to fight together, after witnessing what we saw in Endgame and in Infinity War. And especially if we see that Dr. Doom might end up being in Secret Wars, you and me know exactly where that might go. And yes, I am talking about Dr. Doom potentially killing Thanos in real life action. And then moving on towards possibility number 3, which is to see him in Eternals 2. So Thanos is part of the Eternals family. Thanos in the comics is actually an Eternal, but with a deviant gene, but he's not also actually a deviant. We also do not even know if this is going to be like the case in the MCU. We have not really explored that, but that is why there is going to be a Eternals sequel. And that is why at the end of the first movie, they introduced us to Star Fox, who is one of the brothers of Thanos. And I'm pretty sure that Star Fox is going to have a lot to say about his brother Thanos. Maybe in Eternals 2, we could see the relationship that was being built between Star Fox and Thanos. Now in the comics, they did not really like each other, but it would be very interesting to see the backstory of Thanos when he was little and what led towards his decision on saying, I need to wipe out half of all life in the universe. And spoiler alert, if you guys do not know, there was a celestial that was about to come out from Earth. As you can see that there was a big hand coming out from the planet, and the reason why that celestial was going to be born was because there was enough life on that planet. And the way that the celestials do function is that they use the humans as almost batteries. And so once that celestial gets enough energy, they come out and the planet gets destroyed. Thanos found a solution to this, and that was for him to wipe out half of life, and especially on Earth. So in a way, the celestial would not find enough energy to be born and destroy Earth. So also in a way, Thanos was actually saving the MCU and saving the people on Earth by decreasing on the amount of energy the celestial could get in order for him to be born. It was delaying the emergence on the MCU's home planet. That's very interesting because if you really think about it, Thanos is an anti-hero. Now, I don't want this video to be like 25 minutes long. I would go into further depth on Thanos being some sort of like anti-hero for the MCU, but that will be again in a whole other separate video that I would love to talk about eventually, maybe when the Eternals 2 starts going into production. So that is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next